Hey, it's Vinny. So Elon Musk just did an hour and a half long interview with the Financial Times. I'm going to do my best to summarize it for you guys in about 10 minutes or so and give you some of my perspective. So the first topic they talked about had to do with electric vehicle startups and I guess automobile startups in general. There's a lot of those these days. Polestar is one that comes to mind. And, there's a problem with these startups because you think, what are startups going to do today that legacy OEMs and Tesla cannot? What is their niche? There's only been two car companies in the history of all the car companies since the inception of the automobile. I think there's hundreds, if not thousands. They've all gone bankrupt except for two. The only two that have never gone bankrupt, Ford and Tesla. So this is not really a fun field. If you're considering starting an electric vehicle startup, don't. Now you might ask, well, isn't that what Tesla did? Well, when Tesla did it, it was different, right? They were unique. They were kind of a 0 to 1 company. No one was doing electric vehicles, whereas now everyone's doing it. So you're really just, copying what others are doing, and that's only going to get you so far. Great companies don't become great companies by, copying others. Then you're going 0 to N, whereas Tesla was truly a 0 to 1 company. The other problem too with these startups is, they're skipping right to mass production. They're jumping into the deep end, so to speak. Without learning and making a lot of those early mistakes on a smaller scale like Tesla did. It took them many, many, many years to get to this point now where they're currently selling, over the past trailing 12 months, they've done over 1 million vehicle sales. So what is the winning angle here? It's going to be very difficult for these startups to really gain much traction, I believe. And, the most recent example, you look at these Super Bowl ads, and I guess this applies to startups and legacy automotives. I know that Polestar had a commercial. What was the end result of these Super Bowl ads? It was more sales for Tesla, right? It just shows you the futility of this situation. How can they hope to make it when Tesla has all the better specs? Obviously, I think the majority of people, the way a commercial like that works, they see an EV ad, they Google, what's the best electric vehicle to buy, right? Because I don't think anyone sees that ad and immediately calls up Polestar and places an order. At least I would hope not. And when they Google, what's the best EV, where are they going to end up getting directed to? Tesla. I mean, they are making the best cars right now. So I think logically, when potential customers start comparing their options, inevitably they're going to end up buying a Tesla. And this is exactly what we saw as after the Super Bowl, where Tesla did no advertisements because they don't pay for advertising. They got a huge influx of new orders for their cars. And it just goes to show you that they don't need to advertise. They can let all these other companies spend billions and billions of dollars, and it's going to help their bottom line because it's giving them more customers, which is absolutely insane. I don't know if there's ever been a company that's truly been like that. I mean, they are the first big company, I think, that has no advertising budget, and it's genius, right? Because you can now funnel those billions of dollars back into R&D or whatever. Elon said that demand, this is a direct quote, is exceeding production to a ridiculous degree. So that's a good problem to have. And I keep seeing a common argument now being that Tesla is just a luxury automotive maker. The demand will dry up as people get priced out. And, if you're listening to what Elon's saying and we're looking at reality here, when Teslas are sold out, right, basically, if you want to buy a Tesla now, you're waiting, if not until the end of 2022, into 2023. Their demand is sky high. So the way I see it is, even if that argument were to be true, they have at least a couple of years here where there's no issue with demand, right? And I really don't see that being an issue in a couple of years either. Especially when we see gas prices hitting $7 in California, I think now. So as gas prices keep going up, they're putting a nail in the coffin, one of the final nails for oil and ICE vehicles. And this is also only going to help demand for Tesla because all of a sudden now, the EVs become more and more desirable. Tesla's annual growth rates are faster than any other large manufactured product in the history of the earth. Okay, just think about that for a second and how insane that is. With Tesla, you really make the argument that you're investing in a manufacturing company. What you're investing in with Tesla is these gigafactories that are just revolutionizing production. And you could make the argument that Tesla is a manufacturing company and possibly, if not one of the best manufacturing companies that we've ever had. Moving on, they talked about, powering the earth with, it could be powered through solely sustainable energy, a combination of wind and solar, and it would only take very small areas. I mean, I've discussed this in the past on the channel, but we're talking a corner of uninhabited land in Texas could power all of the US, right? And just 1 square mile of batteries would be enough to store all the energy. Now, granted, this is kind of just for demonstrative purposes. You'd ideally want it spread out more, less centralized, obviously. But just to think about that is crazy. A very small amount of solar panels can go a very long way in generating energy. It kind of seems like a no-brainer. So it seems that the future for any company involved in energy storage, solar panels, wind power, these are going to be the investments that are going to do very well, I think, over the next decade or two here. Elon said he'll stay at Tesla as long as he can be useful, which I think he's got a lot left in the tank that he could give to the company. There's another argument. Is Tesla going to leave? Is Elon going to leave Tesla? Or what if something happens to Elon? I think it would be a huge loss, but I think either way, the company is well off now, and they're going to do great either way. But Elon Musk definitely benefits the company, obviously, and I think that there's no shortage of ideas and things that he can still bring to the table. So moving on, they talked about the China market. This is another argument, is Tesla too, there's another kind of bearish argument, is Tesla too reliant on the Chinese EV market that is kind of volatile? Anything can happen with the CCP, and if Tesla were to anger the Chinese government, although they have seemed to have a very good relationship there where the Chinese government gave Tesla this preferential, unheard of treatment, whereas every other company that wants to operate in China usually has to basically turn over 51% to the Chinese government. They made an exception for Tesla, which just goes to show you, I mean, it's really incredible. This company is truly one of a kind here. I mean, Apple can't even say that. So they did say regarding the Chinese auto market that it's only about 25 to 30% of their vehicle market, let's say long term, which I think is a great sign because, for those who view China as a risk, if they're only getting 25 to 30% of their sales, let's say from China, that means they've got 70% of their sales coming globally. And yes, China will be a key exporting factory there, which, they've been exporting a lot of the cars, and that's going to continue. So you could say that there's some risk there. But like I said, so far, I mean, they seem to have a very good relationship, and they're happy to have Tesla over there, which they should be. As far as new factories go, they're not adding another one in China, but they are expanding Shanghai, at least currently. There's no plans in the near term to build another factory besides possibly a second one or adding on to the one that already exists in Shanghai, which makes a lot of sense because, it's going very well there, and that's can be a great export hub to a lot of places around the world or in Southeast Asia. Now, as far as high volume production, this was really interesting. So Tesla could make any vehicle and bring it to high volume production. This was kind of regarding the Cybertruck and how long it would take them to really get things ramped. So Tesla says they could bring any vehicle to high volume production with a team of 10,000 people and 2 years time, which is 3 times faster than the rest of the industry. So any other company that would come out with a new model and they want to ramp it to a significant volume of sales, it's going to take them many, many more years, let's say 6 years, and it's just crazy. It goes to show you how fast Tesla's moving. I mean, it's been said by, I think, people in both Apple and Tesla. Apple was kind of known as the fastest moving company, and Tesla moves 3 times faster than Apple. And this was really interesting, too. This is something I learned recently. The traditional way of making cars takes many, many years. So like when you see a car, new model, let's say, on the roads, and it looks a bit obsolete, chances are that car was actually designed something like 15 years ago, right? The traditional way of making cars is the path looks something like this. They have to secure funding, so they have to convince the board of the company or whatever family owns the company that this is a good investment and they should invest X of billions of dollars because this will yield, X returns. And that's a process right there that could take, a couple years. Then they have to go into the design phase. They have to pay designers to design the car. This could take another couple of years. Then they have to turn it over to the engineers who actually have to say, all right, well, this design is physically impossible, but here's the way we can actually do it. And this process takes another couple of years. So each way, each step of the way here, you're refining it. And when you add up all these different parts, all of a sudden it takes 10 to 15 years to really get a car to market, which is insane to think about. And again, this is a problem Tesla has solved, that they're able to do it so much faster because they're vertically integrated. Now, as far as full self-driving, Elon said that they're going to have a safety level that's better than a human this year, which he has said before, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But, you can look at the beta videos for Tesla Full Self-Driving, and it's rapidly improving, and it's really incredible. I like this quote. So he had a great quote saying that Tesla, this is something Tesla and Elon Musk are into, doing the reality of good over the perception of good. So there's a lot of companies who want you to perceive that they're doing something good, but Tesla is actually doing something good. And he basically saying that they're going to expose themselves to the risk, because with full self-driving, many millions of lives will be saved. It's actually crazy proportions of how many people die or are seriously injured in automotive accidents every day and every year. The statistics are pretty staggering. So even though it's, subjects Tesla, let's say, to some risk in the short term, because let's say they save 90% of lives and 10% they don't, or people are injured, that 10% is going to sue them. But Tesla would rather do the reality of good over the perception of good. And full self-driving, I believe, is already saving lives, but it is going to really become apparent in the coming years how many millions and millions of lives can be saved by just, automating driving and not letting distractible human beings who probably shouldn't be driving, who are too busy looking at their phones, be driving. And they're not aware of any other company that's close to solving real-world artificial intelligence. This is something Tesla has said is key to solving full self-driving, and why things like LiDAR will ultimately fail, because the way the road systems are designed is for a human being, human neural nets, brain, eyes, seeing everything, seeing the signs, looking around you. It's designed for a human to, understand. So they're basically building a computer twin that is doing just that. And that's why the car has cameras everywhere. So it can see, let's say, in every direction at all times, which is actually something a human cannot, right? We can only look in one direction at any given time. So you combine that with all the other parts of the artificial intelligence that they're working on, and you get the full self-driving product that I think is going to be a revolutionary change. As far as Tesla's software, Elon's confident that they will not only maintain their software lead, but increase it. Again, this makes a lot of sense. When they move 3 times faster, let's say, than everyone else, you can't catch up. You can't catch Usain Bolt if he's already halfway around the track and you're at the starting line. And another thing that's really interesting, there's so much interconnectedness between Tesla and SpaceX, and really all of Elon's companies, Boring Company, Neuralink, but especially Tesla and SpaceX, where they have teams of people, or just people in general, that want to be involved with both companies. So even though they apply to work at, let's say, Tesla or SpaceX, they've literally said they want to be involved with both companies. So the end result is, this is where Tesla gets rocket technology, literal rocket technology in their cars, because of that, access to SpaceX technology. I mean, it's truly insane when you think about these things, and how could anyone hope to compete? So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. This is Vinny from the Investment Club, and I'll see you next time.